The Public Health Agency of Canada is issuing special commemorative coins to all 5,000 public health agency staff. For what? Well, to celebrate themselves, you see. After mismanaging the national strategic stockpile of personal protective equipment meant to deal with the pandemic and closing warehouses due to budgetary constraints, the Public Health Agency of Canada is blowing money on COVID collectibles, if you can believe it, for thousands of the agency's staff. Just take a look at this. This is from the federal government's Contracts and Procurements website. This year, the Public Health Agency of Canada, or PHAC as you'll sometimes see it, would like to recognize all employees for their commitments towards pandemic relief efforts and award them with a special COVID-19 themed designed coin in a velvet presentation box. Spare no expense, my friends. The selected supplier is required to produce and deliver 5,000 coins in 5,000 velvet boxes to celebrate their successes. Now, according to exclusive documents obtained previously by the good folks at the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, the feds, well, the Public Health Agency of Canada really tossed out personal protective equipment in the mere short months leading up to the declaration of a global coronavirus pandemic. You see, the Public Health Agency of Canada, these coin-needing heroes, failed to properly rotate the strategic stockpile. One of the core duties of the government is emergency preparedness. I'd say it's probably the only thing we need them to do. And not only did the federal government fail to prepare, they wasted more than $1 million of equipment in the process. Now, those are the words of Franco Terrazzano, the Canadian Taxpayer Federation's federal director. This disposal of all this PPE took place in September 2019, just 3-4 months before the pandemic, during the closure of one of the Public Health Agency of Canada's National Emergency Supply Stockpile warehouses. This one was located in Regina, Saskatchewan. This is crazy though. An estimated 2 million N95 masks and other assorted personal protective equipment like gowns, those were sent to the local dump. The original cost to purchase all the PPE in the before times was a little over $1 million, according to the CTF records. The PPE, though, was then replaced at a much higher cost. You see, masks normally purchased for about 44 cents each were then going for $1.12 a piece due to global pandemic demand. Now, a subsequent examination of the mess by Auditor General Karen Hogan found that, and I'm quoting here, the NESS, the National Emergency Strategic Stockpile, was not prepared to respond to a pandemic. That's literally what it is designed to do. She said, "We found that information needed to govern, oversee, and manage the federal stockpile was missing, outdated, or lacked clarity." Now, this had a negative impact on the operation of the federal stockpile, Karen Hogan found. The Public Health Agency of Canada did not track information needed to ensure that inventory in the strategic stockpile was not obsolete. They didn't do the basics, like checking expiry dates. I wonder if they drink expired milk all the time. As a result, the agency was not prepared as it could have been to respond to provincial and territorial government needs. So this all had a knock-on effect. Now, Rebel News will keep checking that very special government contracts and procurements website for tenders for hero cookies and maybe some arm braces for bureaucrats suffering from repetitive strain injuries related to patting themselves on the back for their many, many successes. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. The Public Health Agency of Canada left Canadians ill-prepared to deal with the pandemic, and so the government stepped in and started doing crazy things. One of those crazy things is the ArriveCan app. It's this stupid app where you have to submit all your information to if you are a Canadian returning home to your own country. We think it's disgusting, we think it's invasive, and we think it's an overreach. To sign our petition, please go to noarrivecan.com, and on there you'll find a link to support our lawsuit in partnership with the registered Canadian charity, the Democracy Fund. It's at noarrivecan.com. commemorative.com.